And welcome everybody to our 11 o'clock Friday class. We are using book number 134, which is the American film industry's 100 best songs from 100 years of filmmaking. And our song for today is Somewhere. Now, yes, we did this in a different class about 5 weeks ago. I am adding an extra element from when I taught it in the Tuesday class. So for those of you that had it on Tuesday, if you want to skip today, I don't mind, but I'd prefer to see you here because it really is fun having you guys all in class. And the second one that we're going to do today, and we're not going to do a lot with it, but we are going to touch on this Stayin' Alive, which was from 1977, and that's disco music, and that's always fun music to play. So stick around for that one as well. These two songs could not be more different. So an awful lot of fun. The first song is Somewhere from West Side Story. And this is a song from the 1957 Broadway musical West Side Story, made into a film in 1961. So the music by Leonard Bernstein with lyrics by Stephen Sondheim. The song was composed by taking pieces and phrases from classical music, including Beethoven's Emperor, the piano concerto, and Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake. So it's amazing how some of these pop and musical type composers use elements from classical music to compose all of this pop music. This was number 20 on American Film Institute's 100 Years of 100 Songs. In 1965, the Supremes, Diana Ross, recorded the song, and then it went unreleased until 2004. In the aftermath of the shooting of Martin Luther King Jr., the Supremes did a monologue ahead of the song, and Diana Ross was so overcome with emotion that she had a very difficult time getting through her speech. Other recordings were by Barbra Streisand in 1985, Phil Collins in 1996, and here's a strange one, but it actually worked pretty well, and that was the Pet Shop Boys in 1997. So a good song is a good song is a good song, and you can actually do all kinds of different genres, and the Pet Shop Boys probably brought it as close to being a disco piece as possible. So if you're curious at all about that, go to YouTube and take a look at how the Pet Shop Boys did Somewhere from West Side Story. It's pretty interesting. Okay. I played this on Strings 101 and slowed it down to about 64. If you want to speed it up to about 70, that would be okay too, depending on your mood or depending on how much coffee you've already had that day. That also matters. But Wonderful World is a wonderful background. Hawaiian Paradise works very well. Give it a try on Ballroom Latin as well. I think you'll find that that one is nice. Or Theater Romance with the altar style is wonderful. Those of you with some of the smaller organs, Mellow, easy 8-beat on the Freedom 3. On the easies, the 10s, the 4s, the 3s, the 2s, the smooth full band is fabulous. And if you've got an easy 10, number 4, the preset number 4 is going to be a really nice one for that. Also, your ballad, The Wonderful World, is an excellent background for this. And this is one that we will be looking at dynamics. Dynamics, what are dynamics? Some of you have dynamic keying on your instrument. Well, what does that actually do? Dynamic keying is not the same as dynamics for the whole song, but let's just talk about that button for a minute. Dynamic keying on your instrument allows you to play certain sounds like a piano the way a true piano works. The softer you touch it, the softer the sound. The harder you hit it, the louder the sound. That's what dynamic keying is. So dynamics are basically the louds and the softs throughout the song. And there are not that many, well, I shouldn't say that, there's probably many, but I would say West Side Story has some of the most dynamic songs with certain louds and certain softs in the song and really create emotion with the loudness and the softness. So we're going to be talking a little bit today about putting in crescendos and decrescendos. And if you remember, those of you that had any piano background, you'll remember this. See the little V that went from small to large? If it goes from small to large, it's going from softer to getting louder. And there was an F next to that one, and that F means forte. Forte means loud. Sometimes you'd see a double F. A double F was fortissimo, and that means get even louder, and sometimes you'd have even 3 Fs next to it. And on the other end, if you had something with the V going the other way, where it would go from large to small, that means get softer or decrescendo. And then the letter that would be on the other side of it would be a P for piano. Piano in Italian means soft, soft. So we're going to look at some louds and softs. Sometimes you'd have a double P, that's pianissimo. Sometimes you'd have a triple P, pianissimo. And that just means very, very soft. Now you don't see those in easy play music. You see those in regular piano music, or those of you that are in choral groups, you'll see those. And so that's what that means. Do you need to know that for playing easy play music? Not really, but now if you go on Jeopardy, you will have the answers. So that's probably the best reason to know. But you can always use your crescendo markings or your decrescendo markings from soft to loud, just putting in a little V, or from loud to soft. You can put those in, and that's your visual cue to do crescendos and decrescendos. How do you do that on your instrument? The dynamic keying is only going to work if you've got a piano sound or a few other sounds. Guitars, you can put those on as well. But your expression pedal, which I sometimes call the gas pedal, it's there for a reason. It's there to give you those louds and softs. As you lean in, and I usually use my body to do it. I don't know why. I've just always done that. When you put your foot on the pedal, if you lean in, your expression pedal goes down and gives you more volume. As you lean back, your foot comes off the expression pedal a little bit, and it goes to softer. So this is going to be a song where I want you to experiment with your expression pedal to get your louds and your softs. And then I'll show you where you can write in your crescendos or your decrescendos. And we'll show you how to put those in. All right, I'm going to play it first, and then we will give you your chords and your fingering, and we'll show you where we're putting in the crescendos and decrescendos. I will be using strings 101 at 64 beats a minute. And I just played it through one time, but you can play it through the both times. That's actually the way it's written, so you can play it through twice and experiment with other sounds as well. But did you hear the louds and the softs?
Dawn,
Yeah.
how did you do that?
I did that with my foot. I did that with the
Oh,
expression pedal.
so I'd only have to hit pedal magic or no?
Nope, this is different. Your
Oh,
expression pedal is the gas pedal.
okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Sometimes we call it a volume pedal, but it really and truly is an expression pedal. And these are the
Oh,
exact songs that it was designed to work with so that you can do the louds and the softs. And yes, I was very extreme with my louds and softs, but
right.
this is one of those songs that works with the extremes. So when you lean in on the expression pedal, it gets louder, 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 louder. And it just that's what gives you those louds. And then when you pull back on your foot, it's your foot that's doing the louds and the softs.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thanks.
Now you have to be careful because I have heard some people, and none of them are with the company anymore, and none of them are students, so don't worry, I'm not targeting any of you guys, who use the expression pedal as a way to keep time. And I'm sure you've heard people that have done this. And so they're playing a song, and it sounds like this.
Uh,
And I'm keeping time with my foot. That does not work for expression. But you heard how awful that sounds, huh? Yeah. Don't use your expression pedal to keep time. You're using the expression pedal for your louds and your softs. And that's how I did that.
okay.
Leaning forward. When I lean forward, my foot goes forward on the pedal as well. And then when I lean my body back, now you don't have to lean your body back, but I just do it because it helps me to remember to get my foot exactly where I need it to be. And after a while, it will become second nature. You don't have to worry about your kick switches. This is nothing more than using your volume. Okay, so that's what this is about. And I did it in a lot of different places. Every little phrase, I did its own little loud and soft. But you could hear where I went super loud and then all of a sudden came back super soft. And I will show you where I did that. Let's do some chords first.
Dawn,
Yes.
question. When you're increasing the volume there, is that right with the words? So when you're going from a low note to a high note, is that normally where you would make an increase in the volume?
Not necessarily. It has absolutely nothing to do with low to high, although sometimes it is that way. But it has to do with the expression that the lyrics are saying and the emotion that you're trying to get with the dynamics, with the louds and the softs.
So
And
you can vary it a little bit the way
sure.
you want to sing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You put it the way you want to sing it. If you'd want to make this part really loud and this part really soft, you're doing that with your foot. Your foot. So that's pretty much the lesson for today. You also noticed that I played some of the notes I played as quarter note triplets instead of the way it was written, and I will show you where I did that. But let's talk about chords first. All right, the first measure, cross out the C7. The C is good. The C is good. Cross out the C7 on top and over the B flat in beat 3. Now put your C7 in. So we're starting on the C chord, and the C7 is on over the B flat. Next measure, no changes. The third measure of the top line, cross out the C and the C7 and replace it with G minor or G minor 7, gorilla minor or gorilla minor 7, G and B flat, and if you're adding the 7, you would put the F in there. That's good for 2 counts. Over the C, beat 3, put your C or C7 back in, chicken 7. C and B flat. The next line, second measure. Play the C, but cross out the C7. Same thing. We are going to put the C7 in on beat 3. Over the G for quiet, we're going to put in a C7, chicken 7. So C for 2 counts, C7 for the last 2 counts. Third line. We're going to do exactly the same thing in the third measure. The C is good over the word theirs. Cross out that C7 on the top, but over the B flat, put the C7 there. Line 4. Cross out the C or C7 and replace it with G minor, gorilla minor, or G minor 7, which is F, G, and B flat. Beat 3 over the C for day, put your C or C7 back in. All right, the last measure of the first page. Play the C, but cross out the C7. Over the G for give, together, which is the third beat. Now put your C7 back in, C and B flat. Second page, second line. The last chord in that second line is a G minor. You may make it a G minor 7. Second page, last line. You may put a 7 on that very first E minor. Second measure. Play the C, but cross out the C7 on top and move that C7 over to over the B flat. So C for 2 counts and C7 for the last 2 counts. Everything is repeating. The fourth measure, the last measure on that page, cross out the C or the C7 and the C7, excuse me, and replace it with G minor or G minor 7. You're probably seeing a pattern already. G minor, gorilla minor, G and B flat for 2 counts. Over the C for the word time, put in a C7. Put that one back in. Let's go to the third page. Turn the page. Top line, second measure. Here we go again. Play the C, but cross out the C7 and move it over. So over the G, beat 3 for the word hand. Now put your C7 in, C and B flat. Let's go to the third line. First measure, no, the first ending. The first ending, see where it says first ending? The F, play the F, cross out the F7, just black that one out, and in beat 3 of that measure, put the F7 back in. And that's it. Those are your changes. Any questions on chords?
Yes, on the first page, the second line, did you make any changes in the first measure?
No, no ma'am.
So you didn't make any changes to the second measure?
The second measure on the second line,
Okay,
that's where you crossed out the C7 and just moved the C7 over to the third beat.
then maybe it was the third measure of the first line. Did you make changes there?
I did, yes. The
That's
third
what I
measure of
meant.
the first line,
Yeah.
cross out the C or C7
Mm-hmm.
and replace it with G minor, gorilla minor,
Okay.
or G minor 7 for 2 counts. And then over the C, beat 3 for the word where, C7. Put the C7 back in.
Okay, that's what I missed. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Let's go through and do some fingering next so I don't forget that. Remember, fingering is subjective. If mine does not work, please feel free to erase it and put your own in. It's there as a guide. All right. C, 1, B flat, 5, A4, F2, D1, D5, C4, B flat, 3. Second line, A2, F1, D2, put a circle around it, it's a crossover. E3, F1, circle it, that's a thumb tuck. G2, A3, B flat 4, C5, A3, F1. Third line, D5, B flat 3, G1. F3 with a circle, that's a crossover. E2, C1, B flat 5, A4, F2, D1. Next line, high D5, C4, B flat 3, A2, F1, D2, circle it, you are crossing it over. E3, F1 with a circle. This is exactly a repeat of what we did before. Circling the number is either a crossover or a thumb tuck. G2, A3, B flat 4. Top of the second page, C5, A3, F1, D5, B flat 3, G1, E flat 5, C3, A flat 1, E flat 3. That is a long stretch. You can do it. F4. Next line, E flat 3, F4. G5, F4. E flat 3, D2, E flat 3, F4, F4, B flat 1. Oh my, I broke a rule there, didn't I? Normally I tell you, don't put that right-hand thumb on a black key. Sometimes you have to. Third line, E flat 5, D flat 4, C 3, B flat 2, C 3, D flat 4, E flat 5, A flat 1. There's another one, but it works. D 5, G 1. And if you want, you can put a little squiggly line in between the D and the G. That is a glissando. And if you start with a 5 on a D, you're going to reach your thumb up to meet your little pinky and slide the thumb down so you end on that 1. Okay? Just meet your thumb up to that little pinky on the D and slide it down to the G. So your 1 is on the G. At the end of that held G, line 4, put a check mark. That means you're going to take a breath with your hand, lift it, and reposition it. C1, B flat, 5, A4, F2, D1, high D5, C4, B flat 3. Third page, turn the page. A2, F1, D2 with a circle, cross it over. E3, F1, circle the 1, it's a thumb tuck. G2, A3, B flat 4, C5, A3, F1. Second line, D5, B flat 3, G1, A flat 2, B flat 3, high E flat 5, C3, A flat 1, high D I'm sorry, high E flat 3, I'm looking at chords, shouldn't be doing that, F4. Next line, E flat 3, F4. First ending, E flat 3, F4. Second ending, E flat 3, F4. Okay, questions?
We're not putting an F in the second ending. I mean, an F7.
You can, I noticed that too, but it wasn't in the original sheet music, but I don't think it really matters. If you want to put it in on that second ending, please feel free to do that.
Thank you.
I noticed that too. I just copied it from original sheet music. Okay, so now let's talk about quarter note triplets. What are they? Well, triplets are when you have 3 notes together, and we don't have any 8th note triplets in this, but there are some songs where you say the word triplet, 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 and that's 3 notes in the space of 1 beat. These are not those triplets. These are the slower ones. This is quarter note triplets, and we're going to have 3 quarter notes in the space of 2 beats. Okay, let's go to page 1. Second line. Now they decided in Easy Play to write this as 1 quarter note and 2 8th notes. That also equals 2 beats. And it's probably easier for some of us to read it that way. And that would be line 2, measure 2, peace and quiet and. Okay, the 3rd and 4th beat, quiet and. The G, the A, and the B flat. All I want you to do is put a little bracket over the G, the A, and the B flat. Let me see if I can find a good one here. Yeah. Can you see what I did? I put like a square bracket with a 3 in the middle of it over those notes, G, A, and B flat. So when you get to that, that means that you want to play those 3 notes in 2 beats, but try to make them as even in time as you can. Peace and quiet and open air. So you want to try to make them as smooth as possible. It's written as quiet and open air, and that's okay. But if you play it the way you sing it, you're going to automatically, those 3 notes are going to be as smooth as possible, and timing-wise as well. Quiet and oh. You want to just make those like you've got a string attached to those words, and you're just pulling them through as evenly as you can. Okay, we're going to do that again on the first page. Last line, the last 3 notes of the line, G, A, and B flat. We're going to do that again, together with. So you're going to be putting a little bracket over those 3 notes with a 3. And that will just remind you to play those as smoothly as you can. Don't try to count them, because if you're trying to play 3 notes in the space of two beats, it's almost impossible to count. Just make sure the G goes on beat 3 and the A and the B flat just smoothly go in before coming to the next note on beat 1. The second page, the second line, the second measure. How's that? All of the notes will find a new way of. All of those are going to be quarter note triplets. So the G will be on beat 1, the D will be on beat 3, and the rest of them are just going to be as smooth as possible. Got it?
No,
Oh?
no.
Okay, it's the second line of the second page. the second measure. You want to put brackets.
Oh,
Group the first three and group the second three and just play them as smoothly as possible. It's written, we'll find a new way of living, but I want you to play it, we'll find a new way of living. I want you to play it as smoothly as you can. That's quarter note triplets. You're just smoothing it out. Line 3 of the second page, first measure. You're going to do the same thing. All six notes are going to be grouped into 2 groups of 3 quarter note triplets.
Which third line?
Third line, first measure.
Oh.
We'll find a way of 4. Okay.
Oh. Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. All the first 3
And then B to D.
and then B to D flat. Correct.
Okay.
If you group them together, if you do the visuals, if your eyes can see it,
Yep.
then your fingers can play it, because we are creatures of vision. All right, on the third page, first line, second measure, third and fourth beats, hand and weir. The G, the A, and the B flat, same thing.
Okay. Okay.
Got it? And
Yeah.
then the second line, first measure, hand and aisle. The G, the A flat, and the B flat.
Got it.
Hand and aisle. You want to do that?
Yep.
Same thing.
Got it.
Got it? Okay. And that's it.
Okay.
And then putting that all in with the dynamics, that's what makes this song really sound, is the dynamics. All right, so where am I specifically doing louds and softs? You can do louds and soft throughout the whole thing, just make sure that they're not so timed like this that it sounds really silly. It starts out piano, soft. So you're going to start the very beginning. You can write in soft. Those of you who have taken piano can put that little P in there at the very beginning, soft. And if you want to just fade in the beginning with the background, you don't even really need an introduction. You can just start it and fade it in.
Okay.
Just fade it in because you're going to keep it soft. You're going to play pretty much that whole first page soft. I did do a few ups and downs, especially if you go peace and quiet and open air. You might want to swell a little bit and then come back, but don't do it a lot. When you get to the second page, when you get to the last measure of line 1, where you get into someday, you should have already crescendoed from the beginning of the line, so that by the time you get to the someday, that's an MF. MF, not what you thinking. It means mezzo forte. It means medium loud. Medium loud. And then the first measure of the second line, you want to put your little crescendo on the first measure to an F. Crescendo to loud. F is forte. That means loud. So that the loudest part of your song is going to be, we'll find a new way of living. And then the last measure of the second line, do a decrescendo. You do your little V starting wide, getting to very narrow. And then at the beginning of line 3, you want to put a little P, piano, decrescendo to soft. We'll find a way of forgiving. And then when you get to the bottom line, when you start, there's a place for us, you want to be really soft. So you want to put a PP, which means pianissimo. And you can just write it in very soft. And if you wanted to change a sound, you could there. You could change this, you can change sounds anywhere you want, but that might be a place to go to a quieter sound like a flute or a violin. There's a place for us on the bottom of the page. When you get to the third page, hold my hand and I'll take you there. That whole line you want to be crescendoing so that by the time you get to where the D flat chord is, somehow you want to make it an F, which is a crescendo to loud. Go from soft to loud so that that somehow and someday are very loud. Now you've got two choices. You can end the song really loud and just make it lots of fill-ins and lots of somewhere and do it that kind of Broadway, or you can end it by decrescendoing all the way down and ending on a whisper somewhere and just fade it out on a soft. So those are the two ways that you can end songs, and it really just depends on you, the arranger. How do you want to make this song feel at the end? How do you want to leave your customers or your listeners? How do you want to leave your listeners? You want to leave them with a big ta-da, or do you want to leave them with a little whisper? So dynamics are really just emotions with louds and softs. That's really all it is. And the way to do it is with your foot pedal. With your foot pedal. Loud
Gotcha.
and soft. Any questions?
Dawn, I have a question.
Okay.
When we had this song before, because we've done this book,
Yes.
you had us put a bracket around the first and second ending B minor,
flat,
B
uh-huh.
flat.
You can end it on F if you want because it sounds fine, but it's actually, this song supposedly is written in the key of B flat, and that's actually what you should end it on. If it doesn't sound right to you, don't worry about it. Just end it on the F and fade it out.
So
Okay.
it's your preference.
It's your preference, correct. Yeah,
Okay,
this is one of those songs that, it's kind of ambiguous. What key is it written in? It's written in the key of B flat. How do I know that? Because C, F, 7, B flat is the equivalent of D minor, G7, C. So, I kind of knew that from the first three chords, but you also know from the last chord. So theoretically, if you wanted to start an introduction, you should start it with a B flat. Try it and see what you think. I actually prefer to just kind of fade it in on that C, because that first interval is such a bizarre interval. I can remember being back in music theory class in college, and when we had to by ear sing intervals, and they would say sing a dominant 7. Well, to sing that, we all had to think of songs that had those intervals, and this is the only song that has this kind of an interval starting out the song. So this was our go-to song to do a dominant 7 interval from the C to the B flat. And that adds emotion right there because it's such an oddball interval to start a song with. So use your ear to be what's going to be the best for you. I'm going to put on the intro number 2, I'm going to start it with a B flat and see what you think, because this is actually the key of the song. Oops, I started it too loud. Did it sound?
I don't like it.
I didn't like it either. I actually liked it better starting on a C and just kind of fading it in.
I like this.
So this is one of those songs where actually starting with the key that the song is written in doesn't work. Some of you may have liked it, and if you liked it, use it. But personally, no, I didn't care for it either. So always, always let your ear be the final guide
Yep.
for what you do with your introduction. It has to work with the song. All right, I'm going to play it one more time. If you are close to, how are we doing on time? Ooh, okay. We're actually doing pretty good. I'm going to play it one more time. If you are close to your instrument, go ahead and play along with me. Make sure you are muted if you decide to do that. I'm going to keep it on 64, and we're only going to play it through once, and then we're going to spend just a little bit of time on the disco song that we have coming up. All right, here we go. And I'm going to count to 4 so we can all start together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chose to just leave it on the F and fade it out and just let it fade into the sunset. Okay. You know, a couple weeks ago we did this in a different class, and I just got so excited playing West Side Story songs again that Monday one of my songs is going to be from West Side Story. It's not going to be this one. I'm going to do Maria, which is also an emotional song, so that'll be one of my songs. Unless, of course, one of the other 2 artists has already decided to do that, and then I'll have to change my mind. But let's go on to Stayin' Alive. Oh, my. Okay. I did not do fingering because fingering is pretty subjective here. I'm just going to play it through, and I'm going to give you some examples of what would be a good rhythm for this. Of course, the obvious is disco, but you're going to play it in double time. You're going to put your disco on 102, and play it in double time. Those of you that have Queen of Dancing, it comes up at 102, and that works perfectly well with or without the alter style. And I would use, if you're using Queen of Dancing, rhythm preset number 9 is good, or you can go to your category modern, and number 1 is pretty good, and number 6 in the lower keyboard is pretty good for this, to get your disco stuff. In the Freedom 3, the smaller instrument, traditional Showtime is all right, which is your Broadway, take off the harmony, or go to one that's called rock disco, and that's also under traditional. In the easy instruments, either gospel full band, and just go over to your left-hand side and lower the style volume, or your Broadway full band. And those of you who love disco and don't have disco on your instruments, see me after this class, and I will be happy to fix you up. So this actually works very good on either Queen of Dancing. Where am I here? There we go. Queen of Dancing at 102. And number 9 comes up to a rock organ, and that works pretty good. Or you can play it on disco. Ooh, that's not the right one. I guess I did not memorize that one. Okay, that's all right. I'm going to play it on Queen of Dancing at 102, but I'm actually going to be playing it in double time. And you can actually use that line, which is the first ending and the second ending pretty much, and you can play that for your introduction if you wish. And I added another A in there. Measure, let's see, first ending, third measure, G, A, C, G, and I went right up to another A. Because that's the way I remember it. And yeah, this is my time. I loved the 70s because in 1977, I was a freshman in college. That was the year I graduated high school, and Saturday Night Fever had just come out, and the funnest thing to do, that's a good word, funnest, don't you love it, my good grammar? We would go to the discos, and 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, we would dress up in our 10-inch heels. No, I think they were about 6. Our 6-inch high heels and our wraparound skirts so that they would go flying up in the air, and we'd go down to the clubs, and we were doing our best disco dancing. And I remember just having an awful lot of fun with disco music. But if you're not dancing to disco music, yeah, then it's good to do aerobics to disco music as well. Okay, so now I'm going to put it on the
Dawn,
regular disco. Yeah.
before you do that, would you tell me what you did in the first ending again?
Oh, the first ending, all I did was I played C, D, and I put a staccato on the D, F, C, A, G, A, C, just as it's written, G, A, staccato on that A, then C, G, and then I added an A right after that G. So I went dump, da-dum, da-dum.
Okay.
That's the
And
only
then
thing
you
I did.
played, and then in the last one, you played another.
Same thing, same
Okay.
thing. That third measure,
Okay.
you just add a little A, just flip back up to that little A, and it sounds better. The G, ending on that G in that measure just doesn't do it for me, and you're on a D minor chord, and the A is actually in the D minor chord, so it works well with that.
Okay, thank you.
And if you want to start it with just a single note, not the harmony, you may. And then I actually think the best place to add the harmony, either a duet or an AOC, is page 230, which is the second page. Second line, second measure, whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive. And actually, this is kind of a cool song if you think about how they wrote it. It was written and performed by the Bee Gees from Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. It was released December of 1977. It was number 189 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time, and it was number 9 in this book, the AFI's 100 Years, 100 Songs. Initially, the producers of the movie wanted the song to be called Saturday Night to go along with the movie, but the Bee Gees refused, saying, no, too many other songs are on the market with Saturday Night, and B, they had already written another song for the movie with the word night in it, and that was when they had Night Fever. So Night Fever was actually written before this song. Okay, so now I'm going to put it on disco, which most of you have disco. It's contempo. And I'm lowering the tempo down to 102. You might even want to go a little lower than that, especially because we're playing it in double time. And if we want it to start with that last part, you might want to start. No, that's not the sound I want. Here's the sound I want. Here's where you want to get your harmony in, and you might have to memorize it to a different preset. Lots of effects. And then go back and play it again. And that's basically it for Staying Alive. I'll tell you what, though, it's kind of fun because you got to bounce on those notes. And to try to get those all nice and even is kind of a trick. So good finger exercise, whether you like disco or not. And David, I know you love disco as much as I do. You can actually play every song on disco if you want. Remember
Zumba to
actually
this.
Hooked on Classics? They put all classical music on disco music. Yeah. So if you ever just want to do something really crazy, take a song that you wouldn't normally do a disco with and put it on a disco beat and see what you think. Just for fun. Good aerobic songs. Absolutely. Yep. Any questions?
Yes. When do you take the harmony off?
Oh, you won't. Once
Or
you
you just
put
leave
it
it?
on, you can just leave that
Okay.
on.
Okay.
Because the second time you play it, if you feel like playing the whole thing with harmony, that's fine.
Okay.
You know, this is your song. Arrange it the way you want. Now, it also depends on good effects. And I actually like the effects or the fill-ins with the regular disco more than I liked it with Queen of Dancing. Queen of Dancing brought in a lot of Dancing Queen type fill-ins,
Yeah,
which
they did.
works. But
Yeah.
this one actually brought in some stuff like this. That stuff, all that swooping stuff, that's more like the original song had in.
I like that.
Yeah,
Don, what are we gonna do next week? The
that's a
Sound
good-
of Music?
that's a good question. What's the next song here? The next song is Sound of Music, absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
And I think we're going to pass Springtime for Hitler. Janet, I remember you did play that, but it's like 10 pages long. Yeah, I think we'll just pass that one. So yeah, that's a very long song. Wow. So we're gonna skip Springtime for Hitler. I may throw in Stormy Weather depending on how much I do for the Sound of Music. I may just do the Sound of Music for the entire hour. It depends on how much I actually feel. I have to make sure that everything is going to actually get to 45 minutes to an hour per song.
Right.
Yep.
Dawn,
Yes.
what was the sound that you used on the bottom for the second ending?
For the second ending, I used.
The first ending.
Oh, you mean for Staying
For the-
Alive?
Yeah.
I,
No.
I actually liked the one I used for Queen of Dancing. Where was that? The guitars, when I used rhythm preset 9 or normal preset 9, a rock and roll organ comes up on top, and the guitar on the bottom, that's a little bit closer to the original. When I was on the regular disco, and I had it on rhythm preset 0, which gave me those synthesized horns, then what was on the bottom was a synthesizer. And that was actually a pretty cool sound too.
Thank you.
And if you go to your category modern, you're going to have some cool things. You've got a synthesizer on the bottom of number 6. And I think I also liked modern number 1 on the top.
Thank you.
All those 70s, the keyboard synthesizers really came into their own in the 70s. And a lot of songs were written on synthesizers, and they had all those really cool sounds. Okay, well, we are at the end of the hour. You guys are very awesome. Thank you. At 2 o'clock today, Mr. David Muth is playing. I still don't know who he is. I'm going to find out at 2 o'clock.
Hey,
But
Dawn.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
I have a really hard time getting out to your Zoom classes. It takes me probably 15 minutes to finally, I put in what you said, but it doesn't always come to you. But what I was looking for is this week's Tuesday class, which I could not attend. It's not out there.
He maybe hasn't had time to post it yet. He is.
Oh, your Wednesday class is there.
Yeah, he may not have
Tuesday's
posted
class
it
is
yet.
there.
Yeah, see, what I do is I record everything, it goes into the cloud, and then it comes back to my email, and I forward it to Robert, and Robert then posts it on YouTube. I don't have any say about that. He does that. Now, he has been so busy getting all your emails and stuff ready for your Mad Days next week, and also putting our website together. Now, that's something else that I have to spend some time on. I need to get in and schedule all of my Zoom classes onto the Village's website. So when you go on to FletcherMusic.com and you go to locations, it will bring up all our stores, and you're going to just have to click onto the Villages, and then it'll bring up a calendar, and it's not ready yet because I haven't done it yet. I need time for that. And then all of my classes will be posted for that week, and all you have to do is go to the calendar and say, okay, today is the 11th, Friday the 11th, and it's listed on the calendar as 11 o'clock Zoom class. Click here, and you just click into that on the web page, and it'll take you right to here.
Well, I don't understand. Monday and Wednesday is there, but Tuesday isn't.
Oh, seriously?
Dawn,
Yeah, I can't.
Dawn, Tuesday's class is there
It is. I
watched-
saw it last night.
Oh, it went in last
Yeah.
night? Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
because I missed it Tuesday also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, because I don't always go in and check. The
So-
last thing I want to do is look at myself on camera.
Dawn, tell me again how to get in, maybe, because I always have trouble. So, and I'm on my regular computer when I do it.
Okay. You go to your emails, and you should have a link 3 hours in advance this month.
No, go into your recorded ones.
Oh, to go into the recorded ones, go to youtube.com/Fletcher Music Centers, and then in your search box, put the day that you're looking for, like Tuesday. And then all the Tuesday classes should come up.
Well, that's what I do. And boy, I tell you what, it is like a struggle.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Try going in on the notice down at the bottom. Robert always has. Go to the web page or the web page, but also go to YouTube. That can get you in easy.
Yeah, I do that. I do that.
Okay.
Okay.
I do
All
that.
right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
You guys have.
Bye. Have a good week.
Thank you. We'll see you at 2:00 on Zoom for the
You bet.
concert.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for
Bye.
everything.
You guys are
Bye.
awesomest. Thank you. Love you
How are
guys.
you?
I'll be at the dentist. I'll have to catch it later. Yuck.
Oh, yay.